Adrian Melville, thanks for joining me, by the way. Thanks for reaching out, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Great to be on.
So I think as sports influencers or creators of content, we all want to know what the best avenue to make a revenue of this. And I think you're given hope that, yes, there are outlets out there that want to pay for your content. So talk about Family, how it started, and what gave you this idea.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Famble, as I have it called it, it's I mean, the premise of it really comes from exactly what you're saying, is that there's so many people out there that are interested in making content, sharing content. I mean, if you look at some of the surveys out there that people do kind of socially, they'll tell you that 75% of kids and Gen Z growing up, they want to grow up to be YouTube influencers and people like that, or social media influencers. And when you think about it, those platforms, it takes so much effort to actually monetize your content. You have to post constantly. You need a high production level, all of that stuff, and you need the time. And then second of all is you really need to have an idea of what you want to post about. I feel like that's one of the big things that everyone mentions, is have a lane, so to speak. And so what I wanted to do was try to create a platform where sports fans have a lane in the specific contests that you try to create for each upcoming game, and just have an outlet to basically show their fandom. Everyone's so passionate about sports, myself especially, but really.
And you're from Boston, so I'll forgive you for that one. Okay, I know you're from Boston. I'll forgive you for that one. But I feel like this comes from experience. I'm sure that you've wanted to make your own content monetize, and now you're trying to help everybody in that lane. No?
Yeah, well, a little bit. So I wouldn't say I'm the biggest on social media. The biggest place where this comes from for me is I've worked in the sports media business for a while. So I worked at ESPN. I was a journalist for European soccer content way back around the 2014 World Cup, going into about 2016. And since moving over here to London, I worked at Sky Sports and some other places too. So really,
so are you a soccer fan now? Like, are you a hardcore soccer guy being involved with all of this, or?
Oh yeah. So I grew up playing soccer, actually. So I grew up playing in the Northeast, and played in college, played 1 year, or had a quick cup of coffee with the New England Revolution and MLS, all that stuff. So yeah, sports has always been my passion, and soccer has been my go-to sport to play. But being from Boston especially, I've loved all the sports. And
I've got to ask you this then. How did the New York City Football Club win a championship 1 month, and the next month later they're starting a new season? We're all used to waiting 6 months for that season to start up again,
Yeah, exactly. It's a tricky one. MLS is a really tricky one. I mean, and especially now there's so many teams involved now. There's like almost 30 teams now. So it's tricky, but I'm really happy for them, because I think they did things right in terms of building it, and hopefully they'll get that stadium someday. Hopefully.
So ESPN, I think it's interesting you mention that, because I feel like they are trying to include regular people's content, but I guess your feeling is that they're not doing enough. So you wanted to do something and branch out for your own kind of platform.
Yeah, especially, I think that when you working for those places, they always talk about authenticity. We need to be authentic. We need to get this kind of authenticity, but it's almost kind of under the lens of their corporate kind of agenda. And so, I don't know how they can fix that. They're big companies, and they'll always kind of have that corporate mindset in the back of their head. So I'm really trying to come at it from a complete fan perspective, and really let the fans dictate it in a way where they can, really kind of set the agenda for how things are. So in addition to the people who actually post about the contest and do that, the winner is determined by the fans. It's whichever post gets the most amount of likes attached to it that's the winner. So,
And I know you've been having some success with this. When did you start Famble?
I came up with the idea towards the end of last year, basically. And it's really kind of been me talking about the idea and talking about the concept and trying to build it out. So now I'm actually in the phase of putting challenges on Instagram, getting feedback from people, really trying to understand exactly, what people like, what they don't, how easy or hard it is to get into these challenges. So it's been an idea that's been in my head for a while.
Okay.
It's been tough with a day job to try to kind of, absolutely dedicate your time to it. But yeah, I'm just kind of building it out now.
Did you stay working in sports, or is your day job totally different from the sports world now?
It's not totally different. So my day job was actually at another startup, which actually builds out. It's basically a third-party reseller for tee times around the world. Golfscape, go check it out if you're an avid golfer. But I was working for them actually under a contract until about 2 weeks ago. My contract ended at the end of May. So in the beginning of June now, I actually just have more time to work specifically on Famble and try to build it out.
Well, let me ask you this, because it seems like you're well connected. So in order to say, because when you put out, it's a $20 contest, people do, I guess, expect you to agree to that. So how do you make it work? I know that you've been developing this and actually monetizing people's content. So how do you come through with the payments also? It's something I've been wondering for a bit too. Seeing all the posts about it, I'm like, how does he afford all this?
Well, right now it's basically paying for research essentially, and paying to kind of understand how it should work best. The model for it that I'm hoping to have once I can kind of build out my own platform is it would be something that is ad funded. So, hopefully as discreet as possible in terms of the advertising. But essentially what can happen is once I get enough of a following going, my plan is to start talking to the sports teams and the sports leagues and saying, here's an opportunity here where there's all these fans that can be spoken to in a certain way and that exist in one place. Because right now, the way that sports teams and leagues use social media is they basically use it as an awareness tool. So they'll put their clips and their highlights on social media with the hope that people will see it, and then they'll go and watch the game on ESPN or Fox or NBC. And then the more people that go and watch the game, that dictates how much money ESPN and Fox and NBC will turn around and pay the league. So all of the content that fans put out on Instagram and Facebook and all of that stuff, the real winner there is Instagram, is Facebook. And so the league doesn't really get anything directly for that. And so, for all kinds of reasons with the cable industry, those numbers for ESPN and NBC might be declining, and there might not be as much money from ESPN and NBC. So maybe there's a way, at least this is my hope and goal, for the teams to be kind of a partner in this and help to create that. And so that's where the revenue model comes in, is that hopefully there's enough people involved, enough scale, so to speak. I don't mean to sound so businessy, but there's enough
I like this
people that are interested that, yeah.
I like it because I feel like, content should be sort of business oriented also, because we're all trying to strive for that. Yeah, this content matters. So how do we make the best of it? Now you mentioned, as you're talking about this and the sports media industry and as a whole, they're struggling. I mean, cuts are being made, it feels like almost every week. And it's like they cannot keep up with social media, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there are different ways where people are trying to kind of find the right solutions, and it's tricky. I mean, even now, putting these challenges on Instagram, I'm certainly no TikTok expert, but I do know that that's probably another place where things need to be. And I think people are, really trying to get there. And the hard part about social media, obviously, is it seems like once you kind of master one platform, there's a new one that everyone likes, and you've got to kind of find a way to get yourself involved there too.
being so connected in the sports world, as I just learned with this conversation, as you are, Adrian, do you find that getting a sponsor or something to the like for this is going to come easy? Or do you feel like, yeah, I have connections, but I really want to build this out and then I'll start marketing that? Do you feel like it could be easier having these connections to market Famble?
Yeah, I think it can be. But I think for all of them, the common thread is, have you proven it? Can you prove that people are interested in this, and that enough fans do want to post their content,
Mhm.
and that there is enough of a market to really to bring this out. And so um, I think that there are plenty of teams and leagues who love the idea of it, and in some ways have tried it themselves with certain contests, win a free jersey or something
Sure.
like that.
How about the
um,
NFTs? Those are a big thing now. People post, they get like a free NFT from like the Nets or the Islanders or something to that effect too.
yeah, exactly. There's a lot of trial and error in it, and what my hope is that just by being straightforward about it and saying here's a cash prize, here's a win, that can kind of cut through everything that exists, and that if somebody is walking into MSG or somewhere like that, they can say,
Sure.
they see a challenge and snap a picture and say, maybe I just paid for my beer or my hot dog, or I don't know how the prices are in
Interesting.
MSG these days, but maybe I paid for half of a beer.
Well, can I be honest for a minute? I said to my friend, "Hey, guess what? I just got paid by this media outlet." Like, oh, well, that's not even covering a beer. I guess it's that expensive at the Garden. So it's funny you mentioned that. But no, it is special, and I think it's cool when you get recognized like that. Hey, so and so got this many likes, and now they win a prize, and then you're sure to notify people about it, which is great. But I feel like it's also a way to keep people hooked, right? So you hope that, well, if they win one, maybe they'll keep coming back and providing content, and we could show the outside world, hey, people are really following what's going on here.
Yeah, exactly. And if even if you are someone who's maybe more passive about it, maybe you're a little shy about posting things, like I said, you also have a say in who wins some of these challenges. So I don't know what the technical term is, but I like to call it kind of the American Idol kind of effect, where
Sure.
certain people are just interested, and you get to have a say in who has something that's funny or cool or anything like that. So I'm hoping there's really something for everyone, especially if you're a sports fan.
Now I don't know, but is this one of the first podcasts you've done to talk about it, or have you been on other podcasts to talk about this idea and the brand?
This is the absolute first. And yeah, again, it's early days for me. It's again a bit of a chicken and egg thing. I'm trying to really capitalize on the finals and the big levels of hockey and basketball that are going on. But hopefully two of the biggest areas that I see this really growing is one in college football, and two in European soccer, just because those are obviously have big and diverse fan bases that really might be able to really kind of kick this off in a big way.
I mean, Ohio State Notre Dame week 1. I can't wait for that one. But I know that you're from Boston, so obviously you're hoping the Celtics win when you post, and that's kind of like now the only local team compared to the Northeast, because now everything's in the Midwest with Colorado and Tampa. So Boston's kind of the only one up here. But how has the Northeast responded with the Rangers being in, with the Celtics, of that like?
It's been great. I mean, obviously those are some of the biggest fan bases, and so they've been really great and receptive for everything that exists, and it's a learning process, because it's one of the big things I'm trying to understand is it the big person who posts all the time and they've got a million followers who's interested in this, or is it somebody who doesn't post that often and they're just trying to they just see something cool and they like the fact that I will follow everybody that I want to
Or
kind of make this content. So they see that they've gone from maybe 5 followers to 6 followers, and they think this is great.
so
I'll support this.
you feel like people are in their shell a little bit, and you're trying to create influencers by these incentives of $20 contests and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one element of it. There's another element. I've looked across certain things with the NBA finals and things like that. And you see the element of people posting things that have nothing to do with basketball or the Celtics or the Warriors, and they just put the hashtag in because they want people
Why
to
not?
see their flower
So
base or
obviously,
something like that.
a lot of research went into this. It sounds like.
Yeah, definitely a lot of research, but with all of this, you never know until you really get out there and start doing it. And so I made a very classic, I guess, entrepreneurial mistake in that I actually tried to build the platform before going out and really doing this stuff. So, so last year I was sinking money into, paying developers to build this app and put these challenges in and things like that, without really going to the people and understanding, how would this work and how do people respond to certain things. So now I've kind of gone back to square one and I'm really, going out and trying to talk to as many fans as I can.
Do you find that? Do you post every day? I don't check it enough to know if you do. Do you post even if there's like an off night? I guess right now there's not because now the Stanley Cup's on tonight. So if there is an off night though, how do you handle that?
Well, I haven't done much with the off nights yet. So yeah, you're right. The Stanley Cup will be on tonight, and then NBA Finals Game 6 is tomorrow. The next part, and it will probably be the baseball games.
Yeah.
And I won't get too specific with the challenges in there. I think it's really important to just start working with each fan base and start, seeing how each fan base reacts to how things work. But yeah, there will be, once the finals kind of clear up for both the Stanley Cup and the NBA Finals, there will be a bit of a dead period going on, and so
Until
that
training
is
camp
kind of
kicks
my
up again in
time.
July. So there's that too. But
Yeah.
and here in New York, the Yanks and Mets are just on a roll. I don't understand it. I think, as John Sterling would say, that's baseball, Susan, but I don't understand how both of them are like this. It's just amazing to see because I'm not used to it here in New York. It's either one or the other sometimes. So to see them both on fire is really special. And so I hope you tap into that as we go along here, especially for Summer Series, which is like in a couple months now.
Yeah. Well, I'll say I'm happy that one of those teams is doing well. And I'll say maybe half happy after 86, but no, I think it's great, and it's really great to have
It's good
the
for New
Yankees
York.
just
We need
crushing
this.
it.
We need both
Yeah.
teams to be making the summer alive, especially because I consider this one of the first real summers out of pandemic. Like people are going to the games. That's important and exciting. But I got to ask you this. Have you done any analytics, meaning these fan bases? Do you know what fan bases are watching you right now? Because for this podcast, they have geolocation. And I really tapped into that. Like, oh, wow, LA's listening. Such and such is listening. Have you been starting to do that with your own Famble account?
So I'm starting to. I when I worked in the kind of traditional media side of things, that was actually a big part of my job, was analyzing viewing metrics and customer metrics, things like that. And I'm just kind of starting to learn what the best social media metrics are. So no, that is something that is something I'm just kind of getting to know and understanding which analytics companies kind of do the best for analyzing engagement and geolocations and stuff like that. So maybe we can talk offline about which ones might work best.
All right. And the other thing is that at least you're a real person, meaning some of these companies, they don't even have you meet the person behind the account. Am I right in that?
Yeah, absolutely. I have I don't want to call him an advisor, but I guess he's more of a friend who has offered to kind of, help me out with the social media part of it. And I do want to kind of put myself behind this a little bit more personally, and especially if that helps bring things up. But yeah, I'm a real person. I'm a huge fan, and I just, I probably will need some corporate help to have somebody help me understand how to bring that out to people. But I also want to stay as authentic as possible because I am that guy who watches, 2 or 3 games a night and just loves watching any people compete in really any sport. I'll watch badminton if it's on. I'm just that kind of guy.
Well, I look forward to seeing Famble grow. And so I get it right too. What is the correct hashtag people need to use to be qualified for your prize?
So the correct hashtag is Famble, FAM, as in Mary, BLE. And yeah, I'll post the challenges every night going through the summer. And yeah, most likes wins.
Do you have a personal account we can follow you at? Even Twitter? Is Famble on Twitter also, or not yet?
So I do have a Famble account on Twitter. I think it's at Famble Sports or at Famble Media. I'd have to double check that. But Twitter is probably the best place to reach me personally. That's where I've got my little blue check account for my ESPN days. But yeah, both it's at Adrian Melville, just my name. So feel free to hit me up and
I don't know if you ever
I'll,
thought you'd be tagged with Fanatics, but I will tag them because this is sponsored by Fanatics, and who knows, maybe something builds from there. I don't know, but I've always wanted to be a hub where people can connect and grow with each other, so maybe that's a possibility.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, I've been listening to your podcast and I'm a fan, man. So keep doing what you're doing because I think it's great.
Thanks for reaching out. I don't know how you found me, but I'm glad you did because this is a cool connect we got going here.
Definitely. Yeah. And hopefully we'll stay in touch. I'd love to come on again at any point.
Absolutely, especially as things are moving along in sports, and one of the big nights is going to be Derek Jeter night at Yankee Stadium on September 9th. So who knows? I might have some content for you there throughout the summer. So I'm excited.
Yeah, that'll be a big night. I mean, what a legend that guy was.
It's going to be fun. All right, Adrian Melville, the founder of Famble, and on Instagram it's Famble. Remind me one more time.
It's at Famble Media on Instagram. And
got it.
And yeah, the hashtag for the contest is hashtag Famble.
Well, thanks again for reaching out, and we will be in touch for sure. Adrian Melville, thanks for joining the Sports Hour.